Saxon is my favorite math curriculum. I love it. Now, Saxon spirals. You learn little bits of a concept, you build on that concept over the course of the year, those different concepts over the course of the year. And throughout each, few lessons, you're always spiraling back and making sure that there's retention occurring, right? They're retaining what they learned. Saxon Math offers two different paths. They offer this homeschool series of Saxon, like the 8-7, the 5-4, the 6-7, and then they offer the intermediate math books.
Here's the suggested progression using Saxon's original homeschool series. And here is a progression implementing the use of the 3 intermediate math books within the homeschool series. This can get a little confusing because you can switch to intermediate for grades 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I purchased intermediate 3 through 5 before knowing there was an option to continue the traditional homeschool series. After intermediate 5, I found that there were only a few concepts needed to bridge the gap to 8-7. So I taught those to my kids and jumped right into 8-7. I did have one daughter that needed extra practice in math, so we solidified her knowledge by completing 7 before beginning 8-7.
When it comes to pre-algebra, Saxon has Algebra 1/2, but it's a very small book and it's not as detailed as Saxon Math 8-7. This goes a lot more into the vocabulary that they need to know for math and to be successful in Algebra 1. And so after we finished Algebra 1/2 with my eldest, we went on to Algebra 1 and she was lost and confused, and mostly it was because of the vocabulary. And there was just depth of knowledge in 8-7 that she didn't gain in Algebra 1/2. So we ended up having to repeat pre-algebra by doing Saxon Math 8-7. Now in this series, I really love how there are investigations that allow the child to delve deeper into a certain topic and apply it using activities and manipulatives.
Each lesson begins with a warm-up practicing prior skills gained. Then it's followed by the new concept for the day, with examples helping them to solidify their knowledge of the concept you just taught them. Following that is the lesson practice, where they get to apply the new knowledge. Once they've applied the new knowledge, they move on to the mixed practice, which consists of 30 problems for the upper grades, and for the younger grades, usually there's 20 problems in this series. The intermediate math is very similar to the Saxon traditional series in how it is set up.
Instead of a warm-up, they have a power-up. I skip this because my kids would get burnt out, so we just go straight into the new concept. I sit with each child one-on-one, spend about 15 to 20 minutes with them teaching the new concept, doing the examples with them. I always have a whiteboard available for each of us, and then I have them work on the lesson practice while I'm there to answer their questions. After I'm sure they have a good grasp on the new knowledge, I then assign the written practice problems. They also have investigations after every 10 lessons. This is one about number lines. In these investigations, the activities are a little easier to find. I don't recommend skipping investigations. They do obtain new knowledge in them and a deeper understanding of that knowledge. So I recommend taking the time and seeing them as a lesson. What I love about Saxon Math is that Saxon Math K through 3 all have workbooks for the children to work out of, and Saxon Math Intermediate also have workbooks. They are printed on perforated sheets where you can pull out each assignment and they can just write right in this workbook. Here's a good example of the workbook. My younger kids really enjoy this. They don't like having to copy over the problems from the textbook onto a paper. It's a bit much for them. But as my children get older, like in Saxon 8-7, and algebra, they are accustomed to writing out their problems.
Some people feel that Saxon is just too much. It's too much for their kid. There's just too much spiraling, too much repetition. And I think that's because they're viewing Saxon with the mindset they're going to do every single lesson and every single problem.
If this is you, join me next time as I discuss how I use Saxon to teach my children to master their curriculum versus being mastered by the curriculum.
You need to give yourself credit for your strengths. It is not humility to put yourself down. It's humble to understand what you have to work with, and then when you need help, you actually ask for it.